Hello out there. We're on the air. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Let me get to the Zap stream here before we go any further. Welcome back to another day. Are we live? Yep, we are live. Good. Things have been working, knock on wood. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. The show, I don't talk about this enough because I assume that most people know this, but I realize that there are new people showing up here every day. So this is the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This is a show we do every single morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And it focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. So it's a pretty exciting time to be in Bitcoin right now, I must say. The January 6th went off without any issues yesterday, which is good. We had the Prime Minister of Canada resign, the Crime Minister of Canada resign. And let's start with that. We'll start with, we don't usually do this, but why not? Why not today? We'll start with a little recap from what happened yesterday here in Canada. Oh, my feed's cutting off. I wonder why. Because I said Crime Minister. It could be either cry, as in he's a baby, or crime minister, as if he's committed many crimes. Anyways, let's give a big shout out here to Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen in Langley, BC. You ready? Let's see what Dairy Queen spun up yesterday after Trudeau resigned. $2 burgers to celebrate Justin Trudeau's resignation yesterday. So if you get a chance, if you're driving past any Dairy Queens today, especially the one in Langley, BC, make sure you stop in, get yourself a nice flamethrower or chicken. Both are pretty good options from Dairy Queen. The chicken basket or the flamethrower. So cheers. Cheers to a great start to 2025. Trudeau out of here. We'll see what happens though. I'm a little bit worried myself, I'm not going to lie, because there's no way he would just resign because he felt like it was best for the country. So usually whatever decision that Justin Trudeau makes and has made for the last 9 years has been in the worst interest of Canada. So I expect no differently here. I don't know who they're going to bring in for the new acting PM for the next couple months. But anyways, I'm just glad I'm never going to have to see his face again. So I won't waste any more time talking about him because he is a complete waste of time himself. So anyways, cheers. Let's start the day here off the right way. We got Tom in the chat. Good morning, Tom. Clean Your Machine. Good morning. One of the people going through our 365 Days of Bitcoin program, course, whatever you want to call it. Good time. More than anything else, a good time. Judson, good morning. Ginger. Had the pleasure to meet Ginger yesterday, helping him with a couple things that were giving us a little bit of grief. So maybe on that note, actually, no, I'll leave that because I don't want to dox Ginger there. But Killer, good morning. Good morning, Timber Crasher. $152,000 on the treadmill. One of the resolution people. I shouldn't say that. It's good. Anytime people want to improve their health, I'm all for that. And I don't think that's the case here. I'm just bugging you. Ian, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you as well. Working hard for fiat, stacking sats. That's what we want. Eddie, good morning. Trudeau is out. I'm sure you're happy. I wouldn't say happy is the word. Cautiously optimistic would be a good word. 2 words. Renita, one of our Bitcoin journeymen. Good morning. Good morning, Jora and Bitcoiners. We got Andrew in the chat. Good morning, Andrew. Duncan. Scotty V. And we got Bodie. What's Bodie checking in today? Good morning from Children's Hospital in Cincinnati. Lost to celebrate. That's good. Yay for our friends in Canada. All right, we got a couple over in Zapstream as well. We got Craig. We got an unknown npub. Looks like a turtle though, so that might be Bodie. Bodie might have switched over from Zaps to YouTube. Anyways, we got a good show today. We got the Zapstream run. We're not on Rumble today because we are doing a second part of the show today. It's going to be a long one today. So hopefully you got a couple cups of coffee in front of you. But I see a couple Zaps have already come in. One was early, 88 sats about half an hour ago. And 88 sats. Good morning, Jor. Thanks for the daily show from Timber Crasher. Thank you. So that must have been using this code. So thank you. A couple Zaps to start the show today. I set an outrageous goal to get 10 super chats of $20 or more today. So that's about half the audience. No, quarter of the audience here today. See what happens. You don't ask, you never get, right? Let's check on things here. Where are we? Okay. Oh, 42 people in here, 12 likes. Rick, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? We can do significantly better than that, I think. I hope. Okay, so that's one piece of news out of the way. Probably the biggest one, I would say. Let's get to the mempool. Let's start with that actually. And while you're at it, while we're loading it up, make sure you press the like, send a zap, and send whatever you can spare. All right, let's check on this. So we had an empty block 48 minutes ago. Look at that. This computer's running hot. Can everybody hear me and see me okay? All right, we are currently sitting at block height 878,235. And if you are transacting on Bitcoin layer 1 this morning, you're paying 6 sats per VByte. So a little bit up. We've got a couple of really good weeks of low fees if you had some New Year's consolidations to do in your Bitcoin setup. So we're heading back upwards now, 6 sats per VByte. And we got 24 blocks ahead of schedule today. 24 blocks ahead of schedule right now. So again, we've had about 6 or 7 upwards adjustments in a row, which is a very strong indication for the Bitcoin network. And it looks like we're ahead again, which means that there are lots of people plugging into the Bitcoin network right now. This is my favorite chart in Bitcoin by far. So you can see the upwards adjustments since September. Sorry. That's a pretty good streak. I don't know what the last streak was before, but this is a pretty good streak we're on right now. Since September, we've only gone upwards in terms of people plugging into the Bitcoin network. So that's the annual chart, but let's look at, this is my favorite one. I mean, I saw a meme the other day, a little graphic, and it had this chart on it, the hash power. And remember, hash power is just people plugging in their Bitcoin miners, more people contributing to the network, more people securing the network, more people trying to mine the next block. Because if you mine the next block, you get 3 Bitcoin. So that's the incentive there. This is the amount of people who are competing for that next block, for the subsidy, to mine the next block. But you can see here, I don't know if this is happenstance. This is the graphic I saw the other day. It said, this is about when Trump took office the first time, right around here, January 2017. So you can see what happens after that. This is about when, let me double check this. When Space Force, when was Space Force created? December 20th, 2019. That's when Space Force was created and mocked and laughed at. So going back here, December 2019, right about here. So you got 2 fairly significant spikes here in the the people plugging in the network. Number one, when Trump took office, that's right when things kind of started getting off the ground here, 2017. And then Space Force was announced right around here when it really started going upwards again. This was when China decided to ban mining. Oh, I'm not even on the fucking screen here. Oh man, that's a tough look. Well, hopefully some of that was. I think it was since Space Force. So this was when Space Force was created right here, right around here. So two pretty big milestones here in the hash rate anyways. And people might say that they're unrelated. So that, again, this was when Trump took office right around here when it first got off the ground in terms of people plugging into the network. And then Space Force was created about right here when it started going upwards. And this was the China mining ban right here, where it dropped for a couple months and then got right back to where it was. And then ever since then, you can see what has happened. That's a very good indicator. And price of Bitcoin typically follows the hash rate. It has historically, and it will continue into the future. All right, what do we got here? Yes, plus the fees. That's right. Going back to the mempool, every miner who mines a block, they get 3.1. Is it 3.125? Yeah, that sounds right. They get the subsidy, which is the 3.125 Bitcoin. That's a subsidy every 10 minutes on average. And they also get the fees. So every fee that was paid on the transactions within that block all go towards the miner. In this case was SBI Crypto. Duncan says, why do we get empty blocks? Honestly, I don't have a good answer to that. I've asked AI a couple times the question to that, and I still haven't really got an answer that I fully understand yet. Let me ask AI right now. While we're live, why are there empty blocks? I think the miner actually makes the decision not to. I don't know the reason for it, but the miner decides to. Let me bring this back up so we can see the empty block that we're talking about here. So this last one was 54 minutes ago from AntPool. There's one transaction in there, which would have been the Coinbase transaction where AntPool got 3.125 Bitcoin. So 0 fees on that one. Let's see what mempool has to say. When a new block is found, mining pools often send miners new block templates prior to fully validating the new block, often before they've even received the new block. During this time, it is not possible to select transaction for the next block, as a pool isn't sure which transactions conflict with the transactions already mined. While empty blocks do not add additional transactions to the blockchain, they do contribute to the overall security of the transactions already in the chain. Let me ask AI. So it sounds like there's a delay. That's what this is kind of saying here. And this is what it says here as well. So empty blocks in Bitcoin occur. Hold on, let me go back to the block. We're already on it. Oops. Empty blocks in Bitcoin occur due to communication latency between mining pools and miners. When a new block is found, pools send miners an empty block template containing only the previous block's hash, which is quicker to transmit than a full block with transactions. This allows miners to start hashing immediately. If a miner finds a valid hash before receiving the full transaction data, an empty block is mined. Despite losing transaction fees, miners still earn the block reward, making this strategy viable when rewards remain significant. So it sounds like if a miner finds the hash before receiving all of the data, then an empty block is mined. So if they mine it before they have the data, then they just mine an empty block. They still get the 3.125, and especially in this case when fees are low, I think it's a lot more common. Like if fees were high right now, I don't think that there would be too many empty blocks. But like if we compare this block that was just mined from SBI crypto, the one we were looking at originally, so they only made $7,000, 7 million sats from the fees on that one. So these guys mined a block with 3,463 transactions. They had to compile that block with a template, decide which transactions go in there, and they only made about $7,000 off of that, or 7 million Bitcoin. So Antpool, I'm thinking maybe it's because they had a couple in a row here. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that sounds like it makes sense to me. Mert says Bitcoin handles about 7 transactions per second, which is low compared to centralized systems like Visa. Any comments on this? Yeah, you cannot compare Bitcoin layer 1 to Visa. They're two completely different things. That would be like comparing bank wires to Visa. Because you got to keep in mind here, like think of transactions on layer 1 like a bank wire. So they're very slow. Sometimes they take days. They cost you money, but it's final. It's final settlement when that happens. You can't go back and change a bank wire after. And if you compare Visa to the Lightning Network, it's very fast, very low fees, lower fees than Visa. Actually, on the Lightning Network, though, it settles instantly. With Visa, if I sold a hat from knggolf here with a Visa card, the money would come out of your bank account or your Visa account. It would be added to your balance on Visa, but I actually wouldn't get the money for a couple of days. It wouldn't fully settle for a couple of days. And you can even do chargebacks now on Visa. So the Lightning Network layer 2, that's what's going to replace Visa. Layer 1 is more, a lot more secure. It's more expensive. It takes more time. But both sides of it. So just let's take this a little further here. So with the layer 1, if we're thinking about that like a bank wire, bank wires, I don't know how many people here have sent bank wires, but it's typically for bigger transactions, tens of thousands of dollars, buying a house, something big. You want to send a bank wire because you want to make sure that it's secure and nobody can reverse that. So you can accomplish the exact same thing in Bitcoin as a bank wire, except probably cheaper. It's not going to take you 3 days. It's going to take you maximum probably an hour if you set a fee high enough for it. And it's absolutely immutable. You cannot go back and change it. So that's and also you don't need anybody's permission there. You don't need both banks communicating. You don't need anybody in between there. It's just peer-to-peer. So that's layer 1. And then if you think about why Lightning in layer 2 is better than Visa, a payment system like Visa, it's because it's just as fast, probably about the same. It's cheaper for the merchant, for the person selling the hat, it's cheaper. And also you cannot go back and do a chargeback on it. So with Visa, if somebody bought this hat and they decided that they got hacked or somebody stole their credit card information, they didn't actually mean to make the purchase, they already have the hat, I have to send them their money back and I'm out. With Lightning, the exact same process, except there's no chargebacks allowed in Lightning. It's settled instantly. I send you Lightning, it arrives in your wallet within about 5 seconds probably. So that's a really good question. I think it's a really good thing for people to understand. The difference there is that we're not going to be using Bitcoin layer 1 for like everyday transactions. So it doesn't have to be fast. It's meant to be secure. And the reason why it takes a little bit longer, like the reason why the layer 1 takes longer is because of the consensus mechanism. So that's every 10 minutes, there's a new block That's why the difficulty adjustment goes up and down based on the 10-minute block on average. Because if it got faster than that, then the network wouldn't be in consensus. And that's what you see a lot of times with like Solana. What other ones have gone down? Because the blocks are just coming in too fast. There's nothing there to stop the blocks. There's no way to get consensus when the blocks are coming in very quickly. So, all right, we got a couple zaps here as well. Let's see what we got. So we got 2,100 sats to Arnie from your friend Fred. Thank you, Fred. And we got Craig, who sent 2,100 sat zap for Arnie's insurance. And Plunger sent in 320 sats without a comment. So thank you, Craig. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Plunger. And thank you to whoever just sent in another one here, 188 sats. Mert says, thanks for the answers. That's why I'm here with you guys. Thanks to all. I hope that helps. It's a good question. Really good question. I think that's one of the biggest knocks that people have on Bitcoin is the speed, but they don't really understand that it has to be slow. You don't want it to be fast. When you want things secure and in consensus, you don't want it to be fast. Freedom Prospector, good morning. Says, I have one 500 gigahertz Lucky Miner. I have it solo mining Bitcoin Cash. Odds of hitting a block are 1 in a 1 year period is 1 in 101, basically a 1% chance per year. If a Bitcoin Cash block, if I hit one, I would swap it into Bitcoin. So what would you get for that? Is it the same? Is Bitcoin Cash the same? I don't want to spend too much time talking about Bitcoin Cash here, but is it the same mining rewards as Bitcoin? I think the only thing different there is the block size within Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash is another thing that's made to be faster for transactional monetary use. But so what is Bitcoin Cash nowadays? What's it worth? $467. So even if you hit a mine, or even if you hit a block, you'd get 1,500 US, which would get you about 1.5 million sats. I mean, worth it, but there's no guarantee you're going to do it. You might just be wasting money. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. As long as you're swapping into Bitcoin, seems like a decent idea. Riley says, what do you think about Pierre Poilievre's opinion on Bitcoin? He seems to be supportive. Yeah, he was he was a supporter of Bitcoin when it was at its lowest, I think, and he got trashed pretty bad by Trudeau for that in Parliament, talking about Bitcoin. So, I mean, Pierre will be great. I think he'll be a lot better than Trudeau as long as the Conservatives get in here. But again, I don't put any sort of faith in government. And Pierre sits at the same kind of tables as the Pfizers of the world, as the big banks. So, I mean, he'll be a lot better, but I don't think he's going to be like a savior by any means. I really think the best thing that could happen for Canada is if we actually did become the 51st state. And Trump's been saying quite a bit. He's been talking about it. I don't think it's by accident or coincidence. Yes, and it's the most secure mainnet. You pay for security on layer 1. Exactly. Separate X says, how to transfer Bitcoin on Lightning to my on-chain wallet. Really good question. You got a couple options with this. Let me bring up, I'll get one thing loaded here while we talk about another. So the first one I would say for this is the Aqua wallet. Let me bring it up here for you so you get the right one. Aqua. The Bitcoin wallet your grandma can use. That's what you want. So essentially what you would do here, this whole process, ooh, I'm running out of battery here. The whole process of this would be, you get your Aqua wallet. That's what it looks like there. That's not my balance. That's the price of Bitcoin. You click on layer 2 Bitcoin, spending account. I like how Aqua has savings account, which is Bitcoin, and then spending account, which is layer 2 Bitcoin, and Tether. So if you click into layer 2 Bitcoin there, oh, I don't want to show this because I got some transactions, but you just click the layer 2 Bitcoin, you click receive, you set the amount that you want to receive to the wallet, and then you pay it from your other wallet. And then you go to swap. See that little button in the middle there? It says in between them, it says swap. So that's how you would exchange your Lightning to on-chain. And then from Aqua, you'd send it to your cold storage wallet or your on-chain wallet, or just hold it in Aqua. But this is a really good tool. It costs, there are some fees on it, of course, but I think it's the best, easiest option for most people to use. And then the second option, especially if you're in Canada here, this is what I would recommend doing. This is Bitcoin Well. So if you have a Bitcoin Well account, you actually get free swaps from Lightning to on-chain and otherwise. So let me bring this up here for you. This is very simple. I told one of my friends to do this and they didn't even need help doing it. It's pretty straightforward. So what you do here is you put in your, let's say you want on-chain. So you put in your destination address. This is your on-chain address. You add it into here. And you can do this. You can just use add wallet at the bottom, or you can go to manage wallets and you can add in your on-chain address there. So that's your destination address. That's where you want it to go. And then you just send, you open up your Lightning wallet, you click send, you scan that QR code, and then you put in the amount that you want to send. And they are free. They're batched about every 12 or so hours. So if you sent it right now, you'd get it in the next 8 hours. It's completely free though. That's kind of the difference between Bitcoin Well and Aqua Wallet, is that Aqua, you don't need a KYC, you don't need any of that, but it costs sats. So with Bitcoin Well, if you have an account, I think this is only available in Canada, the swap feature, but you can swap Lightning to on-chain or on-chain to Lightning, and it's completely free. So that's what I use. I use Bitcoin Well. And if you need an account there, make sure you use the bitcoinwell.com/Jor and get yourself 5 free tosses into the well for some free sats. Free sats. Nobody's ever going to turn down free sats. That's for sure. That's what we talked about on the day 6 of the, what's the show called? 365 Days of Bitcoin. We talked about 3 ways to earn Bitcoin every day and a couple best practices and then something else on top of that. So I think there's 10 people now who are going through the 365 days of Bitcoin. So day 7 is coming today. And if don't feel like you're late to it either, you could sign up for this in March. All the videos are going to be there. I'm going to put them into a collection. You can always go back and start from the beginning. You might just have to watch a couple per day to catch up. But there's no time frame on it. You can kind of take them at your own pace. But it's going to cover every possible topic that you need to know about in Bitcoin in 2025. I think it's the perfect time to be doing this. And I've been getting some really good feedback on it so far. So consider joining the 365 Days of Bitcoin. If you want some info, I mean, one of the shows we already talked about within the first 6 days were things like the difficulty adjustment, things like the consensus, the Bitcoin nodes, private keys, public keys, stuff that I think is very important that people should start out their Bitcoin journey with. Rick says chargebacks suck for the vendor. Yes, 100%. Like it's so crazy that we're just like businesses are okay with that happening. Like every single business should be accepting Lightning right now. The problem is we're just not, the adoption is not there yet, but it will be. It will absolutely be there. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, a little bit. Captain Codeman says that the true bank settlement system is crazy slow. 3 days. Bitcoin is way faster by comparison. Yep. Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash have the same mining algo. Good to know. Not that I'll ever be mining Bitcoin Cash, but good to know. And we got 21 Spiel. Patrick, good morning, my friend. Okay, let's get to the next part here. So this is a video we talked about. I think I messed this up about 5 times yesterday. I tried pronouncing the name of this company. I think I called it Curl Cooler, but it is apparently Cooler. So let's watch this video that Cooler posted yesterday, talking about their new Bitcoin purchase and their expansion of their Bitcoin treasury.
Cooler today announces a significant expansion of its Bitcoin treasury. The company has increased its Bitcoin purchases for its Bitcoin treasury by an additional $21 million to reach a total of $42 million in Bitcoin acquisitions and a total of 430 Bitcoin. The additional purchases were made at a weighted average price of $98,400 per Bitcoin. This strategic move aligns with Cooler's Bitcoin treasury strategy announced in December 2024, wherein the company committed up to 90% of its surplus cash reserves to be held in Bitcoin. From its initial Bitcoin purchase in December 2024 to January 6, 2025, Cooler achieved a Bitcoin yield of 93.7%, leveraging a combination of surplus cash and its at-the-market equity program to fund purchases. Cooler has introduced Bitcoin yield as a key performance indicator for its Bitcoin treasury strategy as a transparent measure of the per-share accretive impact of its Bitcoin acquisitions.
It is crazy to me that this exists. It is crazy to me that I know about Cooler because they're holding Bitcoin and not because what they do for a business. Isn't that nuts? Like, that's where we are right now. 2025, companies are putting out videos talking about their treasury, not their operations, not their new product or service line, but what they're holding on their treasury. That's what they think is the most important message to communicate to people. And it's been working. I mean, if you look at their stock price since December, you don't have to take my word for it. Let me show you. Cooler stock technology. Oh, that's year to date. Okay, so this time last year, the shares were trading for 20 cents. 20 cents a share. And right now they're trading at $3.36, which is, since they adopted their treasury, their strategy around here, went from 35 cents in 2 months, 35 cents to $3.36. So that is up 1,500% in the past year, basically in the last 2 months. So if you don't think Bitcoin is seeping into the mainstream, into the Wall Street, look no further than Cooler. Look at Semler, look at Metaplanet, all of these companies in 2024 who just simply bought Bitcoin and held it on their treasury instead of cash. These guys put 90% of their cash into Bitcoin. And look what happened to their stock price. This isn't going to last forever. As more and more companies continue to do this, it'll just be old news. But right now, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to tell you to go buy Cooler technology, but probably worth looking into. I do think that if you look at companies like Tesla, like MicroStrategy, like Semler, like Cooler, Marathon, what's the other? There's a couple more. But if you can actually find ways to arbitrage the net asset value premium. So a lot of these companies, and there will be opportunities where the net asset value of the company, which means how much their company is worth in terms of their Bitcoin only. Like, these guys have $42 million worth of Bitcoin now. And so if you look at the value of the company compared to the share price, there actually is arbitrage if you can find it early enough in there, which Cooler you could have. But within all those different, if you're going to be an active trader, there are ways to kind of bounce around the net asset value premium compared to the other Bitcoin companies. But I still wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't be looking at anything outside of MicroStrategy, honestly. The one thing that I would say is, and again, this is not me telling you what stocks to buy. This isn't a stock show or a Wall Street show. But like if you took a company, just look at MicroStrategy and what has happened with it. So when it went from, I think, 800 to 1200 in a month or two, they did a stock split. So at about the $1,200 per share value, that's when they did a stock split. And so it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to just have some, like, if you look at who's going to be the next Bitcoin treasury company to do a stock split, that might be a good way to do it. Like if you looked at what Semler is today, if you just kind of use the same roadmap that MicroStrategy has followed so far, because that's basically what they're doing. So it's $58 for Semler right now. So let's say you bought a couple of them, and then over time you held it for a few years, and you got 5 shares in Semler. They did a stock split. All of a sudden you got 50 shares in Semler, and it's going to keep appreciating. So that might be a decent play for people out there. Put the majority of your traditional finance capital into MicroStrategy, and then just buy like 5 Semler, 5 Cooler, 5 Block, Tesla, whatever it is. Tesla's probably, I don't know. Tesla's a tricky one because they're not a Bitcoin treasury company. But that's what I would look into, at least. That's what I would look into. So that's Cooler. That's companies putting out full ads on the assets they're holding. Kind of crazy to me. All right. What else we got? J. Ross says, can any LLC buy and hold Bitcoin as a store of value? Yeah. Why not? Why not? Actually, I have a really good idea in terms of, and I'll probably talk about this. I want to fine tune it a little bit in terms of an LLC and earning money, earning Bitcoin, and actually like legally doing it in a way where you don't have to pay tax for 2 years. I don't know how it works in the US. That's kind of something I want to look into. But you can actually, big picture wise here, very quick version of this. You can set it for whatever you do. Let's say you're doing online consulting for marketing stuff. You set up a corporation. You take in the money. You don't need to do all the things that people think you have to do to start a business. So you just start accepting money. You have a corporation, an LLC, and you can actually go 2 years without paying any tax on that personally. So you can use the money from that corporation to pay for whatever you need. You don't have to pay any tax on it for 2 years. And there's actually strategy there where you start buying Bitcoin personally at that time and sell it to the corporation to pay off the loan that you owe to the corporation. There is something there. And I've been kind of nipping at this for the last couple of years and trying to figure out the best way to do that. But there is something there for sure. Because how corporations work is, let's say you have a corporation, and I don't want to lose people here. It's kind of boring stuff, but it's really relevant, I think. But you have a corporation and you have yourself, 2 different entities. And the corporation here, that's what you set up. That's what you establish. It costs some money to do that, but this is where the money's going to go into. This is where the money's earning. Let's say you're a marketing consultant. This is where the money's flowing into. Your person, you have a shareholder loan between yourself and the corporation. So if you make money in the corporation, but you spend it yourself, you owe the corporation that money back. If you make money and you do like a contribution to the corporation, if it needs some cash, the corporation owes you money. So that's a shareholder loan. And if you have a balance that you owe the corporation money, you can go 2 years without having to claim that balance on your tax return legally. Like, this isn't my trying to get around the system. Like, you can do this legally. So just kind of based on where we are, I think it is a really interesting time to be doing something like that, because if you took the money from the corp, paid for your life, bought Bitcoin, and then use that Bitcoin to pay back the corporation in 2 years, you can do that whole thing legally. It's pretty interesting. And again, I'm going to be hopefully talking a little bit more about that in the future, but something to start looking into. Maybe if you are a contractor, you got your own business, or you want to start doing things on your own, there's something there. Plunger says they could be a shit packing plant and be amazing because they hold Bitcoin on their reserve. That's what I mean. Like, I have no idea what Cooler does. No clue. They're a technology group. Cool. I'm a technology group myself, but they hold Bitcoin, so their stock price is going up. It's kind of crazy. Crazy time to be here. Hey, Crypto Princess. Good day, ladies and gents. Best wishes to everyone in the new year. Happy New Year to you as well. No other YouTuber knows Bitcoin like Jor. Well, I don't know if that's the case at all. But I just think that I speak a different language as a lot of Bitcoiners. There's many people out there, many Bitcoiners who are far more intelligent than myself and know a lot more about Bitcoin than I do. It's just that my brain only works in a way where I think the average person works. So it's easier for me to communicate that to people. Oh, no, look at this. Jay says Cooler makes insulated bags for spaceships to hold food. My buddy was talking about them in September, then sold before they adopted Bitcoin. Oh, that's rough. That is rough. And, you know, Michael Saylor actually said something along these lines in the last couple months. I've been watching a lot of Saylor videos. But he basically said, like, there's people right now still who are trying to trade MicroStrategy, like trying to leverage it, trying to trade it. I mean, he's all for leverage because it means there's buyers, there's activity there's volatility, which is what he wants. But he says the people trying to trade MicroStrategy right now are like people trying to trade Apple back when it was $3 to $5. So in other words, just buy it and hold on to it and don't get too cute with it. That I think that's the worst thing that people can do. And I've learned this lesson myself. And I mean, I'm probably not going to teach you anything here, but the majority of mistakes that I've made in my investing, financial, wealth building career here have been when I tried to go too fast, when I try to earn things before I deserve them through trading, trying to get cute, trying to outperform the market. When if I just would have held on to stuff, literally did nothing, I would have been way further ahead. And I mean, there's no better lesson to that than in Bitcoin. Oh, Riley says I invested in Cooler for the same reason, and I sold peak COVID. Damn. Yeah, Metaplan is not available here in North America either, Patrick. Metaplanet is not here, and apparently Cooler is not available in Germany, but it is on the New York Stock Exchange, so we can buy it if you want to. I mean, they're $3. So again, what the strategy that I would suggest doing here is get like 10 of them, 10 or 20 Cooler shares, see what happens, and hopefully in a couple of years you'll get a stock split that'll turn into 100 or 200 shares, and then you got it covered. But just don't try to game these newer ones like Cooler and Semler. Semler's kind of mature now, but just stick to MicroStrategy. If you still have money in the old system there, just no one's going to outperform MicroStrategy. I guarantee it. That's a stone cold guarantee. All right, let's get to the fun stuff here. So I'm gonna keep this episode a little bit shorter today. I'll maybe talk about it after. We got a couple changes coming to the show here. I like mixing things up. You always got to be evolving. So we're going to keep the show a little bit shorter today. But the one thing I will say is we're going to watch this video. We're going to talk about it for a little bit. And then we're going to jump over to the second part of the show. And there, we're actually going to watch a video that's about half an hour, 40 minutes long. But I think it's very, very relevant for where we are today. And so today, after the show, and tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about the same kind of thing for people within Bitcoin, for people who are kind of past the point of just like buying Bitcoin. If you want to start really implementing it into your life and start earning Bitcoin and start doing more with the technology that we have here, these next 2 days, today's show and tomorrow's, are going to be perfect for you. So the best way to join would be, you can join on the channel. Actually, if you just join the membership group, you get access to the second parts of the show as a Bitcoin journeyman. So you have to do that. I think you can join from the main channel. And then when you join, you'll be able to see a new feed on the channel. And every time I do a second part of the show, I just post the link there. So you can sign up for the YouTube through the membership there, go to the feed and just click the video and it'll take you to a second video. Or a better way, in my opinion, is to do it through the Living in the Future, which you get access to all the videos, a whole bunch of other stuff, the community, Signal chat, Discord. And I'm probably going to be cutting that off in the next, I don't know, 5 members, probably. I think we got 95 people in there. I want to cut off that chat at 100. So today, I would say if you've been considering joining, if you want to learn a little bit more about what's coming here in Bitcoin and how you can take advantage of that, these next 2 days are going to be for you. So just keep that in mind. That's one way to do it. And yeah, so you can join through the channel or through the Patreon feed. And to actually, sorry, one last thing on that is that every Wednesday going forward now, I'm actually going to not be doing a show on YouTube. I'm going to take Wednesday morning and I'm going to do specifically for the private community. So it's going to be, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whole bunch of questions from the YouTube comments. I'm going to have like 10 that I want to talk about. And then I'm going to have people, the live chat going still for the private community, and people can ask any questions there. So it's going to be like a weekly Q&A every Wednesday. And it's going to be really focused on building and business stuff, ideas, what's coming here in Bitcoin, and how we can all kind of take advantage of that. So I don't have a name for it yet, but it's going to be every Wednesday. I'm taking the day off of like the main show here, and I'm going to be doing specifically for the private members. I just want to give more back to it. I feel like the people who are, I mean, it's good to show up, join the chat, have fun here, but I really want to reward the people who are here now and contributing and giving back to the channel here. So that's what I'm working with going forward. Every Wednesday, we're not going to have a show. It's going to be specifically for the private community. Okay, so let's get to what I'm going to be talking about a little bit today. Part of it anyways. So this is from Dante Cook. I think this is a guy from, yeah, Simply Bitcoin. So it says, a crazy, not so crazy idea. Tesla will become the most valuable company in the world by adopting a Bitcoin standard. By 2030, the self-driving Tesla will be earning Bitcoin that will replace real estate as the ultimate passive income machine. And it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Zero overhead. The car handles all operations autonomously. Scalable, whether you own 1 car or 100, the system works seamlessly. Instant payments, which we were talking about before. Transactions happen over the Lightning Network, fast, frictionless, and global, and permissionless. No middleman, no banks, no employees, just a car and a wallet. And an insurance flow. Tesla insurance premiums could be reinvested into Bitcoin, compounding wealth over time. It's the perfect combination of AI, passive income, and the future of money. All of your money is being invested in the best performing asset 11 out of the last 14 years. Okay. So I was talking about Tesla
concepts for
earning Bitcoin with their self-driving taxis. So let's listen to what Andreas has to say here, kind of going along the same lines as that.
You can start building completely new concepts for payments that we've never thought of before,
and then new technologies on
and
the
then
back
new
of that.
technologies on that. Now, what happens when you combine? Here's another interesting one. Bitcoin is the first financial system in history that doesn't require personhood for ownership of money. Every single financial system we have At the end of the day, money is owned by either a person or a collection of people as a corporation. That is a fundamental truth. It's required by the legal system. Bitcoin doesn't care. You can be software and you can own money. Software can own money. Let me say that again. Software can own money. We don't know what that does, but let me give you just one example. Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that management. Now, that is a completely bizarre construct. It's one we can't even imagine at the moment. It violates several of the assumptions we make as a society about liability and legal responsibility. As long as it doesn't crash, actually, it does some really interesting things. It's a really damn good taxi in many ways. But that's just one example, and that's not something we have today, only slightly different plus Bitcoin. That's something that is impossible today. And you start opening up these branches of innovation and exploration in science, the interesting things. It's a really damn good taxi in many ways. But that's just one example, and that's not something we have today, only slightly different plus Bitcoin. That's something that is impossible today. And you start opening up these branches of innovation and exploration in science that simply have no precedent. And that's where it really gets interesting. So on a 10 to 20-year horizon, you can't make any predictions anymore because there's no precedent to what you're doing. Just like in 92, you can't predict Facebook. It's impossible to predict it.
Right. That's scary. That has some like AI, fascinating. I mean,
All right, so I think, and I rewound it there. I don't like jumping around, but I think it was important to hear that again, where he said, this is not something that's what we have now, slightly different, but you add Bitcoin to it. This is something that's impossible today. And if you really think about that phrase in this specific example, that's pretty much what Bitcoin's doing right now. It's truly unlocking our human potential and what's possible here. And I really think that there's a lot of people sleeping on it. I mean, just the fact that Bitcoin is so encompassing and it involves so many different layers to it, and it affects every different part of society here. But like, people are really missing out on the fact that Bitcoin isn't just going to keep going up in terms of fiat price. It's going to reshape and completely flip on its head everything that we do today. Everything. It's going to unlock unimaginable things. And I mentioned this yesterday, but honestly, the only ceiling that's on Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin, is what we put on ourselves. The only limit we have is our own imagination. So if we can think something up now, Bitcoin pretty much makes anything possible, including something like that. And I really think that these things are going to be very popular in the future. He basically said it's going to replace real estate in terms of somebody's got a house, rent it out. You have to worry about renters, tenants, property tax, all these different things. You have to worry about all that. If you flip that into something like this, where you don't need a human involved there, that's kind of the difference. And you might even start using houses for the same thing, where you could basically have a house. I mean, it would be a little bit more, but at the same time, it's still doable. If you implement that system and you start, I'm just thinking through this in my own head right now. But if you had a house and it's all advertised online, everything's paid online, people show up at the house, they have their key, they automatically receive the code, which changes every time. You have a robot that cleans the house. These are the things that are going to be possible now with AI, robotics, and Bitcoin. This would not have been possible before. But still, and so maybe the corporation owns the house, which is the company itself. I don't know. Pretty wild though. And the thing that I want to really take from this and going into today is that he talked about 10 or 20 years away. And that's kind of what the whole membership that we have, it's called living in the future, because that's where we're focused on. We're already living in a world where 1 sat equals $1. And when you live in that world, you see the world completely differently. Right? And so even the fact that and I want to give a couple shout outs here, because somebody sent in 1,500 sats. Somebody sent in 121 sats. Looks like that was from Zapstream, and 88 sats. The fact that people can even do that is truly mind blowing to me. That I can just sit here on a screen, add value to you, and you can send value back to me through a QR code. Like, we're already there. We're already at this point. We're doing that right now. But if you think about all the what this is going to unlock, not only with technology, not only with getting rid of all the bullshit that has held us down for so long, but it unlocks a whole economy, a global economy that we've never had access to before. So you have the internet, you have AI, you have Bitcoin. The world that we're heading into here over these next 20 years are something that we can't even fathom right now. And so kind of my point of this whole thing is that it's very easy to own Bitcoin. And that's where everybody should start. You buy Bitcoin, you learn how to protect that Bitcoin, you learn how to secure that Bitcoin and your whole setup, and then you learn how to pass that Bitcoin down. That's kind of like your first steps within Bitcoin. That's what you should be focused on. But then after that, that's when you start exploring the possibilities, the opportunities within the world that we're heading into. And that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today and tomorrow in terms of how we can start getting ready for that today, both financially, both knowledge-wise, and with the tools that are here now that we can start using to get ready for this world that's coming. Because nothing's going to stop this now. Technology only moves one way. And so you can either fight it, resist it, and hope for the best, or you can build it into your own life. You can start learning about it and take advantage of it. That's what we have the opportunity to do today. So with things like Bitcoin, with things like Nostr, with things like a Start9 server, all these things are going to work together for us. We're not going to be working for it anymore. That's the difference. And so this second part of the show today, we're going to be talking about Web 5, which is building a new internet around Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about Start9 servers. We're going to be talking about AI and how it's going to affect our lives and how we can take advantage of that versus be scared of it. So I'm going to cut off the show right away. I just want to check on any comments here. Okay, couple. Spaceman says, very sad about the loss of Wednesday show. It's only one day. It's only one day. And I mean, if you're that sad about it, then you can just join. I think the YouTube channel is $3 per month Canadian. So if you don't think that my shows are worth $3 Canadian to you per month, then I don't know. That's kind of up to you. But anyways, I want to say thank you to Spaceman for 121 sats and Daniel for 88 sats. Thank you, fellas. And Spaceman, you don't need to be sad. Don't worry. I'll tell you why in a second here. BTC Hunger Pain says, thanks for all the content. I appreciate and love learning in my Bitcoin journey. So what you got to do, you got to be a lifelong learner. Andrew says, found out today River has auto buys and auto withdrawals to your cold storage. When your balance hits a set limit, it goes automatically into your cold storage. That is awesome. That's pretty much what I do with my Bitcoin Well account here in Canada, except there's no way to trigger it going from my Lightning wallet to my cold storage. I have to do that myself, but it is it's handy. Patrick says, I have another imagination. Imagine Musk prepared all this Starlink satellites as Bitcoin miners close to the sun. Free energy at the highest level, no human involved, mega hash rate. Yeah, when you start thinking down the road like that and what's coming in terms of energy and satellites and mesh networks, I think they talk about mesh nets a little bit today on this thing we're going to watch. Nick Tron says, I stopped mining all coins and converting to Bitcoin as I found it unethical and it does not support the Bitcoin vision. True. Very true. Very, very true. I mean, somebody kind of, maybe we'll end the show with that today, but somebody kind of mentioned that yesterday on the, we got 42 sats from an anonymous person on Zapstream. So thanks, Jor. Thank you. 42 sats from anonymous. Thank you. But this is within the Living in the Future chat. Someone was asking about selling their Ethereum for Bitcoin and selling their altcoins for Bitcoin and the best time to be doing that. And, you know, there was some conversation back and forth in terms of the everything falling compared to Bitcoin, and has been a trend and will continue to be a trend. And the good, the bad, the predictions, there's a whole bunch of people chiming in on this. But somebody said when they sold their Ethereum, it just cleared them. They just felt a lot better. Even they've been hanging on to this Ethereum, waiting for the right time to trade it for Bitcoin or sell it. And they said that once they finally sold their Ethereum, they just felt way better, way lighter. Because then you're not worried about anything. You're not worried about it could go to zero. You have all of your focus and your energy on one thing, which is Bitcoin. And I think that that's been the most successful part of Michael Saylor's journey so far, is just his laser eye focus on where he's going to. And when you have things along the way that come up, such as Ethereum, owning Ethereum, like just get rid of it. Just swap it for Bitcoin. You have about 2 weeks here, I think, while we can still get somewhat cheap sats. So if you're somebody who's been hanging on to your Ethereum and your other altcoins, hoping that they'll go up, just trade it. Just clear your mind, clear your conscious, focus on one thing and head in that direction. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Timber Crasher, good morning, and thank you for the zap. Okay, so we're going to move over there. Hopefully you've already found a way to join and catch the second part of the show. This is one you're going to want to watch. And tomorrow is going to be even better, I think. Today's going to be a video. I'm going to do a little bit of talking after, but tomorrow is going to be focused on earning money in Bitcoin in this new crazy economy that we're heading into. Personally, for you, who is selling Bitcoin today? That's a good question. Everybody's always going to be selling Bitcoin. Not for fiat forever, though. That's the thing to keep in mind. You won't always be able to trade your fake fiat for Bitcoin. That time will run out. Julie says, how to get to the next segment. So you get two options. Number one, you can just go back to the main channel here for 88 sats. And there should be a join button somewhere on there. That's the $3 per month option that gets you access to all the second parts of the show. And the second option is go to, in the show notes, it says Living in the Future, join Living in the Future, Patreon. And you can join there and you can, that gets you more access. That gets you access to the Signal chat, the Discord, and everything else we got going on there. So a couple ways to do it. And it looks like Paul has joined as a new member. So again, if you're joining from the channel, you just go to you join, then you go to the channel, and there should be a feed on my channel, and it says full show Living in the Future. You click a link, it'll take you to the second part of the show here. It's also a YouTube video. And if you're joining through the Patreon, you can go to there. You can join as like a $5 a month or $8 a month or whatever you have. You can do this 365 in there. It's all gets access to this. So I would say that the Living the Future, the Patreon, is a better deal, but you can do it just directly from the YouTube here like Paul did. So with that, I hope you have a great day. Hope I got you thinking a little bit about what's coming here in the future, and I hope you're excited about it, because as a Bitcoiner, you're going to get the inherent runoff of all that's coming by companies adding to their treasury, by robots accepting Bitcoin for payment, and by people building in Bitcoin and building businesses within Bitcoin. That's all going to make your Bitcoin more valuable. So you can be a passive person within Bitcoin, or you can take this thing on, see the opportunity here, and set yourself up for the best position possible there. So it's up to you. Consider joining us, and if not, we'll see you right back here on Thursday. No show tomorrow. It's going to be only private members every Wednesday going forward. So have a great day, and we'll see you Thursday. Bye-bye.